Watch this.
Idaho lawmakers are trying to make sense of the state's massive budget, and this year, they've got a new tool to help: how a data-driven system could change the way your tax dollars are spent. Medicare open enrollment starts soon, but this year, it's not business as usual. Some insurers are cutting benefits, trimming networks, or leaving Idaho altogether. We'll explain how to avoid losing coverage. The price of beef has jumped again: steaks, roasts, ground beef, all of it. But there's a reason behind the sticker shock, and it starts with fewer cows, more drought, and a slow rebuild that'll take years.
We only look at 19% of the total budget on average every year.
In 2024, we heard from now former state senator Scott Herndon about the inner workings of Idaho's budgeting process, a concept that revolved around approving a base budget centered on the previous year's budget, and then adding on a few new requests from the agencies, enhancements. And criticism of that workflow included the concept of bad spending in one year then being baked into the base for all future years, with no real conversation about if that allocation is still needed. And while criticisms like that were coming in, the leaders of Idaho's budgeting committee, JFAC, Joint Finance and Appropriations Committee, they were hard at work building a new process. Now, Senator Herndon was speaking in support of that and explained that the process would look at more than 80% of the budget each year, opposed to just 19%. And the process is converted to passing maintenance budgets, basically budgets to keep the lights on, so to speak, and then circling back to additional budget items, line items, in a second vote later on in the session. And that'd be for every single agency. And there was heated debates this past year about what a maintenance budget is, and that will likely continue. But a key conversation point was the request for more data for lawmakers to dive into in a digestible format. Give the hard numbers and historical records for lawmakers to at least have the option to have an educated debate without having 3-hour marathon presentations every day to start the session from every agency. JFAC co-chair Scott Groh addressed the concerns in a special meeting today.
My big concern is what is in the base, because we always had the base, we just kept enhancements every year. And so this is our first major attempt to really be able to dig into the base, not just for the last year, but to go back several years.
And to do that, they have a brand new numbers tool, which was debuted today at the State House, and it's one that everyone will have access to.
Today's a big day. This is something that I know Senator Groh and I have been working toward for 3 years in our quest to increase the transparency and accountability of budgeting in the state of Idaho. Basically, this is a tool that helps us look to the past to help us look ahead to the future. How can we move forward? Because we now have access to trends. Think of the Great Recession and the Big Dip. Think of the pandemic and the big mountain of revenue that we suddenly found ourselves with, most of at one time. What investments were made? These are numbers that can help us ask better questions. They're not the whole story. We're missing the words, but we have access to the numbers now in a way as legislators, as the public, and certainly our staff. And so we hope it improves the quality of our budget hearing process and the budget process in general.
And you saw the tool there in action. Budgeting trends, where money is coming from in the budgets, if it's federal or state money, indications on if money was a one-time allocation and what for, and also indications on how the base budget is built for each agency. There's also a solo tab, which is a list of all budget enhancements to the maintenance budget, and a category of it is ongoing or one time, so more data for lawmakers to jump into. And numbers are great, but some members of the committee questioned if there is enough context in the tool, like inflation and growth.
If they're going to be using this, my fear is they're just going to look at the line that shows growth and not understand all the areas that are involved in budgeting, including one-time federal funding, including, as I said before, inflation, population and growth, and I think they're going to need to know how that fits into the budget.
This tool is for asking questions. It tells us the numbers so that we, again, can see the past to move forward into the future and have appropriate context around those.
So a tool like this, numbers and information that's easily digestible, it's great, but like any tool, it depends on how you use it. And the budgeting process this session is expected to be very different than in years past. Gone are the major cash infusions and balances from the COVID era. Lawmakers are already working on budgets. We will officially see them in January. Open enrollment is coming up in this year. State officials are urging Idahoans to pay close attention to their health care options. That's because some insurance carriers are changing or even dropping their Medicare Advantage plans altogether. So, open enrollment for Medicare, it begins October 15th and it runs through December 7th. And that's the one time every year that people can make changes to their coverage. But this year, Idaho's Department of Insurance says that some private insurers offering Medicare Advantage are cutting back on benefits, trimming doctor networks, or even pulling out of certain areas entirely. And they say the reason is higher costs, lower federal reimbursements, and tighter regulations. And it's a trend that already forced more than 1 million Americans to switch plans last year. And officials believe that 2026 could bring more of the same. So, if you're enrolled in a Medicare Advantage plan, you should have received a letter from your insurance company explaining any changes for the next year. That document, if you have it still or haven't received it yet, look for the annual notice of change, and it's your best way to see what's staying the same and what isn't. And of course, you can always reach out to your provider. Right now, 7 insurance carriers offer Medicare Advantage plans across Idaho. Even if your plan isn't going away, the benefits or provider list might look different next year. So double check your doctors and prescriptions. The Department of Insurance here in Idaho says that you don't have to navigate this alone. The state's Senior Health Insurance Benefit Advisors, or SHEBA, they can help compare plans, review your options, and make sure you won't lose coverage in the shuffle. They will help you free of charge. Again, open enrollment runs from October 15th through December 17th. Do not be afraid to ask questions. All right, beef prices are sky high again, but before we talk dollars, let's talk dinner, because the cows themselves, they're not what they used to be. And Hunter Funk joins us here in studio explaining how cattle have changed and really, I guess, what's behind the meat counter has too.
Yeah, exactly. The country's cattle herd is at the lowest level right now in roughly 70 years. But here's the thing, even with fewer cows, there's actually more beef per animal than there was generations ago. A finished steer averaged around 1,000 pounds. Today, they tipped the scales closer to 1,500. The USDA yield grade system was introduced in 1965, which measures external fat thickness, surface area of another ribeye, among other things. Well, 60 years later, advancements in genetics and production management have created larger and faster growing cattle, and the yield grade systems remain unchanged, which means there's more meat on the same frame. That keeps things stable until 2022, but now the demand isn't keeping up with supply, which in turn is raising prices. The Consumer Price Index report for August shows a surge in beef prices over the past year. Ground beef prices up more than 12%, beef roasts were up more than 13%, and steak prices were more than 16% higher.
Yeah, so when you look at the beef price in the retail market store, it really boils down to supply and demand. Our national cow herd is down with the work of the Beef Checkoff and the Idaho Beef Council and all the other partners. Demand is up, and that combination then creates a higher price in the marketplace. And as consumers choose how to spend their dollars, they're noticing.
But why are beef prices at a record high? Well, we're going to break it down coming up on the news at 6. But Joe, Cameron had mentioned from the Cattle Association, he had mentioned that, in the 50s, they weren't as thick as they were now. So that kind of held us over in the meantime as we were trying to battle with supply and demand. In a good way. They don't make them like they used to. Right? I wonder if they taste different. I don't know. According to the yield grade, it sounds like it's coming out about the same, but still good to me. Very good. Yeah. All right. Beef, it's what's for dinner. Thank you, Hunter. Appreciate it.
A Boise native who made it all the way to the World Cup is coming back home, this time not as a player, but as an owner. Sofia Huerta, defender for the Seattle Reign and the U.S. women's national team standout, has officially joined the ownership group of Athletic Club Boise, Idaho's first professional soccer team. She's the first Idaho-born pro player to take an ownership role in the club. Huerta holds the NWSL record for career assists and has represented the United States more than 30 times on the international stage. Off the field, she's been a strong advocate for growing the sport of soccer, especially for young players.
When I was growing up, it wasn't very clear what the path could be for me. Yes, there was the national team, but there wasn't a clear league. And so to be here, growing up in Boise and watching Athletic Club Boise play, the men's side and the women's side, you know, young boys and girls are going to be able to come here and have this dream and know that they can do it if they really want to. So I think it's going to have a huge impact on the community. I mean, just in general, though, I know Boise's so excited to have this team come here and to be able to cheer on the team. I mean, like I mentioned, the community is so supportive. So I know everyone's so excited for Athletic Club Boise to come in March 2026.
Boy, that first game is going to be electric, and so will really all the games. But Sofia joins a lineup that already includes U.S. Soccer Hall of Famer Casey Keller, helping connect Boise's new team to the Northwest soccer roots. And if early signs are any indication, City of Boise and the surrounding area is ready. Athletic Club Boise has already broken the USL record for season ticket deposits. The club kicks off early next year, and now it's got a hometown hero leading the charge in the owner's box. It goes by many names: Boise, Boise, City of Boise, the City of Trees. You get the idea. But if you look closely at some government buildings in the capital city, you might see another name, Boise City. So what's correct? Well, as John Miller explains in today's 208 Redial, it all depends on who you ask.
Here's a little trivia question. Name this city.
Boise.
Not according to the folks at Money Magazine.
Boise City.
What's that all about?
I have no idea.
Okay, you drive this cab, right?
Uh-huh.
Is it Boise City Taxi, or is it Boise City Taxi, or is it Boise City Taxi?
It's Boise City Taxi, because Boise's a city.
Idaho City's a city.
Uh-huh.
But they don't just call it Idaho.
Well, no, because Idaho is a state.
Of course, Boise's also a state, thus Boise State University. Technically, this would be then Boise City State.
City State.
Does this make any sense to you guys?
No.
All part of the confusion here at BCSU. Some would say it's a crime to call it anything but.
Boise, Idaho.
Just don't complain to the cops. They work in Boise City. Making it not so much a question of where are we as what are we?
It's Boise.
Okay, Garden City's a city. Then you couldn't just call it Garden. You really want me to leave now, don't you?
It seems like it's an historical thing. For example, Idaho City, actually Baker, Oregon used to be called Baker City. It's like an old-fashioned thing.
Maybe they're afraid they'll think we're a town.
That's one person's opinion. I mean,
like that.
what are your thoughts on it?
I thought for the last 6 years I've been in Boise. Right here in the Boise city limits, you can take this one all the way to Boise City Hall. Is that Boise City Hall or Boise City Hall or Boise City Hall?
It's Boise City Hall.
Just ask the Boise City mayor.
No, we are the city of Boise, Idaho.
So we're not Boise City.
We're Boise.
Just Boise.
We're Boise. We're Boise with an S.
John Miller, Idaho's News Channel 7.
Okay, so what gives? Historians tell us this isn't that surprising. Many cities that were incorporated during the 1800s added the word city to the name. Think Idaho City, Garden City, Baker City over in Oregon. It was an effort to make the town sound more impressive than they actually were at the time. Here in Idaho, we celebrate just about everything that makes us who we are, from rodeos to river runs, but maybe nothing captures our western roots quite like sheep and the people who have herded them through the Wood River Valley for more than a century, many of them originating in the Basque Country. And you're looking at video from last year's Trailing of the Sheep Festival. Every fall, that living tradition takes center stage in downtown Ketchum at the Trailing of the Sheep Festival. It's a 5-day celebration of Idaho's sheep herding heritage, and it's been named one of the top 10 fall festivals in the entire world. And this year marks the 29th annual festival, running October the 8th through the 12th, so this week. You'll see it all. The Big Sheep Parade with more than 1,200 sheep marching right down Main Street, the amazing sheepdog and their trials, Basque and Peruvian dancers, live music, and some of the best lamb dishes you'll ever taste. There's also a Wolf Fest with hands-on workshops, storytelling events about Idaho's herding history. Organizers say it's about honoring the people who built this part of the West and keeping their stories and flocks alive for generations to come. For the full schedule, tickets, events, everything you need to know, go to trailingofthesheep.org. And if you've never been, you need to go. There's nothing like watching 1,200 sheep go down through Ketchum, and it's also like silent because they don't want anyone to spook the sheep or the dogs that are working. If you have the time, you got to get there. It's an amazing experience that is so Idaho.
It has been a beautiful Tuesday thus far. 71 degrees right now, very light winds out of the southeast and sunshine overhead. So just about spot on seasonable for October 7th. The rest of your evening stays nice and quiet and clear. Sun will go down at 7:15 tonight. You'll notice very quickly when we lose the sunshine how that chill creeps into the air. So another cold start tomorrow, but not frost territory like we were in this morning. So we'll start off in the 40s in the Boise area. You can see just how much sunshine we'll enjoy again tomorrow. Breezy winds pick up again in the afternoon, but southeasterly winds will propel our temperatures into the upper 70s across the Treasure Valley tomorrow, and we don't stop there. Thursday will be even warmer. So across the region, the coldest spot down in the valleys looks to be Ontario, right in the mid-30s. Otherwise, we're 40s across the rest of the Treasure Valley early on. Very brisk for the Magic Valley. Clear skies around 40 to kick things off, 30s and 20s up in the mountains. But look how we warm tomorrow. We'll land into those low to mid to even upper 60s, depending on your location from Fairfield northward. Tons of sunshine overhead. We'll hit the mid-70s in the Magic Valley and pushing 80 across much of the Treasure Valley. 79 for Caldwell, Nampa, and Mountain Home. So high pressure remains in control through Thursday on into the first half of Friday. But by the weekend, we turn our attention to a potent Pacific storm system that will bring in some weather whiplash, as I call it. We already are issuing first alert weather conditions for the weekend due to a dramatic change in temperatures. Here's what it looks like for the next 7 days. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, it'll almost feel like summer in the afternoons. 80 degrees, that's about 10 degrees above normal as we head towards the middle of October. 78 on Friday. By the afternoon and evening, though, clouds move in. A couple stray showers are possible late Friday. We lose almost 20 degrees of warmth on Saturday as a cold front pushes through. It will bring in breezy winds, isolated rain showers, and light mountain snow by Sunday morning in the mountains. Temperatures by Sunday in Boise land in just the mid-50s.
Thank you, Rachel. Citing increasing costs, the city of Nampa is looking to hand over the keys to the Ford Idaho Center to the College of Western Idaho. And if you've been wanting to watch a rivalry football game based in Idaho, you're in luck. You just have to wait half a decade. Richard Rodriguez has that and more in the 411.
Highway 21 is closed north of Grand Jean. The Idaho Transportation Department closed the highway to repair damage caused by a landslide in August. Mud clogged the culvert, causing the creek to flow alongside the highway, which created erosion. The road will be closed throughout today and is expected to reopen tomorrow at 6 p.m. The Nampa City Council voted last night to transfer the Ford Idaho Center to the College of Western Idaho. The decision comes as the city's budget becomes increasingly tight and the cost to maintain the Idaho Center increases. Despite the decision, city officials want to make sure the center remains public and preserves Nampa traditions, such as the Snake River Stampede, for years to come. The rules for getting drive-thrus approved in Meridian could be changing. Right now, businesses need a conditional use permit to put in a drive-thru. That process includes public hearing, a city council, or planning commission approval. The city's planning supervisor, Bill Parsons, is suggesting if a business meets all technical requirements, things like how many cars line up in the drive-thru, a clear traffic flow around the building, then city staff should automatically approve the drive-thru. However, if the drive-thru is within 300 feet of homes or apartments, this easier approval process wouldn't apply. He plans to present his proposal on October 14th. The Ada County Highway District is celebrating Ride Bright tomorrow night. The event is a chance to learn about bike safety and resources for riding in the dark. There will be pop-ups across Boise, including the Boise Bicycle Project, the Boise State Cycle Learning Center, and Christian Armstrong's Park. You will find where all the locations will be at ACHD Commuter Rides website. The event runs from 4 to 7 p.m. Boise State and Idaho State have announced a game set for 2030 on the Blue for the team's first matchup since 2015. The Broncos and the Bengals have met 32 times in the past, and the Broncos led the series 25-6. Both teams used to be in the Big Sky Conference, but have only played 3 times since the Broncos jump to FBS rankings. That's the 411 on the 208. I'm Richard Rodriguez.
To the comment board we go to end the program. Linda writes, yes, my Part D insurance premium has gone from 0 to 13 to 37 to 92 next year. That is with extra help. Guess I'll be looking. Yes, make sure you're checking your Medicare coverage. Also, yes, this person says Boise, not a Z. It's a pet peeve to have the Z in the name. Boy, when I moved here about a decade ago, that was made clear to me. Also, yes, wrong video of the sheep trailing. We'll get the correct stuff tomorrow. It's perfect video. We'll see you soon. All right.
Continue with us and watch free now on the KTVB Plus app everywhere you stream.